to Spirit and Soul Sessions. I am Christina, and I am joined by Leanne and Ion.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
So what is going on for today?
Today we are going to talk about emotions, the emotional body, which is very important.
The most important.
Yes. So emotions are stored in the tailbone. So, and they've been looking for emotions in the mind and the brain. Well, not the mind, but the brain for a long time. But the emotions are stored in the tailbone, and this is something that we've actually been discussing more this week. I know that there's going to be could be some feedback on this, but I know like growing up, I got spankings. My dad used to tell me that, your butt was designed and padded perfectly just to be corrected. And if you think about it, I mean, if the memories are stored in the tailbone, that's just one way of making sure that people, that the individual gets the right message. So if you fall on your butt for some reason, perhaps that was a reason for like, remember this moment, don't forget it, kind of thing, like you're going to remember, hitting your tailbone on some ice.
Let me interject in here for a second. Not only emotions are in a tailbone, also the memories. The memory bank is in a tail of every single animal and humans too.
Yes, thank you for correcting me. That's where I was going with that.
the memories are also in the tail.
Yeah, the memories is where I was going with that. Thanks for
ends short, so it's a tailbone, but all the memories, I don't care where they're looking at their brain, they can slice up all the mice brain. They're not going to find memories in there.
So the emotions are the emo tail, the first kick. The nucleus of emotions is fear, which is actually neutral. And we have some diagrams that I'll put in here when we put the video together to explain this a little bit better. But just so you can
visually,
so you can visually see it. But science calls fear antimatter, or calls this antimatter, and it makes up 96% of our universe. So, I mean, I think this is another word that everyone is confused on confused with because, I mean, fear technically is a neutral point of our emotions. I think when people talk about fear or the use of fear in propaganda or whatever, they're really just trying to scare people. So it's that scared part that they're trying to activate. But the fear is actually what, if somebody walks around the corner and scares you, that fear, that initial jump is like the igniter to ignite any emotion. Which direction you take that is up to the individual soul. But that is the igniter. The fear is the igniter for kickstarting any emotion, whichever direction it goes.
Fear.
I get ignited all the time because I am constantly, and I don't know what it is. I go into this like mode of I'm just in my head, or I'm just thinking about something so much that I just tune all other feeling out. Somebody could be walking up, actually talking to me. I don't hear them, and all of a sudden I just happen to turn around like, and they're like, I've been talking to you for the last like 5 minutes, and I'm just constantly scared. So yeah, I know what that igniting feels like.
Sorry, I was just saying that that's what you get is actually you get scared. Mm-hmm. So fear is initially fear is like a shock, just a little shock, and will transform all that energy, into whether you get scared or you get towards anger, you get afraid and you get towards anger. So you get scared, you get towards anxiety. We're going to go through it, the whole thing. But fear, it's like a microsecond of a shock. That's all there is.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have a little fear to make any movement. So you have to have that either, it can happen in an aha moment where you're moving towards a certain emotion for a specific reason, or, or just even a little bit of fear to get up off a couch, or, just you got to have that igniter to be able to put that emotion into motion, energy into motion. So, yeah.
Yeah, everything you do is going to go through fear. And even when you wake up in the morning, is just has to be that motion activated to even move. You cannot move anything in your body without emotions.
Energy and motion.
That's
Emotions. So if you look at the diagram between anxiety and anger, fear is the 0 point in the middle.
The emotions are, fear are neutral emotions. There's no question about it. That's, you're going to get fear. You transform everything in your body. To understand what you're doing is the first law of thermodynamics is called, and that is energy cannot be destroyed nor be created. It can only be transformed. So that's where fear come in place. That's which is an absolute truth. That's what it is. Energy cannot be destroyed or created. So fear, once you get that initial shock, that spark, that's fear. You transform that immediately. You don't even have to do it. It's going to do it by itself into scare or afraid. And that from there, the scare part is going to go to, concern, worries, and panic attack, and all the way to anxiety. And that's the extreme part of our emotion. And to be afraid is going to you're going to get angry, you're going to get upset, you're going to get all this kind of stuff until you're going to get really angry, or you're going to get passion. We'll talk about that a little. So it's going to be transformed on the other side to the extreme, where you're going to get angry. Now, those two high emotions at the extreme, anxiety and anger, they're being transformed into 3 parts. You cannot work otherwise with them. They're going to be transformed into 3 parts: constructive part, a destructive part, and passive part. On the anxiety side, and also on anger side, is constructive part, destructive part, and a passive part. And we're going to explain which one is how we're going to deal with each one separately: constructive, destructive, and passive, and what's going to give us, and how we're going to. Those are really good tools to go through life. And also fear, the real neutral initial fear, is transformed immediately in that moment in also in 3 ways: flight,
flight,
or unconscious. And we're going to explain that subconscious is within the mind ego part, and unconscious is a fear part. It's an emotional thing. So the fear is also 3 parts, but they're not. Has nothing to do with constructing or destructing or passive. That's the fear. How the fear works is
fight,
flight, or unconscious. So subconscious is a little different that the unconscious. We have to make the difference in it, because the unconscious is an emotional part, is coming from fear, meaning playing dead, literally. There's still animals right now, when they get to that point of fear, they're playing dead to not be eaten alive by other animals.
Awesome.
Okay. We do have that in us still, but we don't use it. We forgot how to use it. So that's the unconscious point, into coming from fear. Has nothing to do with subconscious, which is very powerful, and it has nothing to do with the conscience, obviously. It's just a separate. The conscience comes from ego, logical thinking, and all that. That's conscience, and making sense. And the unconscious is playing that. That's what it is.
More of an instinct, I would think, right?
No, it has nothing to do with free will either. It's literally an emotional thing. The unconscious is an emotional thing. Instinct has nothing to do with instinct, free will.
Yeah.
It has a little connection, but not much.
That makes sense, the unconscious having to do with emotions, because you tend to, things that you don't want to remember, you don't really want to feel again, you tend to push back into your subconscious, so you, as like a protective barrier, so you don't have to feel it, so you don't have to remember it. So that does feel right, like really feels right.
That's literally playing dead, but not being dead, like
like a possum.
Yeah, it's probably even the hard stuff.
She loves possums today. Yeah. I said she loves possums today. It's the second time she's referenced
Well, it's just a good...
that's a good example.
It is a good example.
I don't think they're particularly cute, but
yeah.
They do play dead, so,
Right.
So let's recap a little bit. So fear is a neutral emotion, very, very important to every single being in a universe, actually. It's called antimatter. It's the feeler of the invisible filling up the universe. So whatever we can feel or see or in the universe, in between those spots is the antimatter. It's called fear. And it acts within the human body, acts three ways: fight, flight, or unconscious. And from there is going to be transformed. Whether fight or flight is going to be transformed. It doesn't matter because we never know how we're going to transform. It's a point in moment when we're just gonna react to it. We can stay and fight, and that kicks in the scare parts of it, the angry parts of it. And or we can flee. That means we're really afraid. So it gets us all the way to anxiety. So if we fight, it gets out all the way to anger, to just really be violent. That's our survival mode.
So does this have anything to do also with adrenaline too?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would say that's
I'm guessing we're getting to that.
Yeah.
I'm jumping ahead. Sorry.
It's okay.
All 3 points of the fear has to do with adrenaline. Yes. Whether you get angry, or you get scared, or you get unconscious. Yes.
Too. Sorry. So like when you get into, like for me, when I got into my car accident, I was thrown into an unconscious mode because of all the pain and the emotion and everything that was the adrenaline, everything that was going on in my body, I guess just couldn't handle it. So I was unconscious. Right?
Yeah, that's a perfect example, actually. Yes, you got to an unconscious mode. If you didn't, the spirit would take over, meaning you would see everything in slow motion right before the accident happened.
Yeah, some people call that the cave of Brahma.
Yeah.
I kind of did, because I said, look out. And all I remember was, I put my hands out. I was like, look out. And my hands went forward, which I know now I shouldn't have done. But my hands went forward to brace myself up close to the dash. Like they didn't touch the dash, but they were. And it's like, I saw it like slowly coming at me. And the next thing I know, like I'm waking up. The other guy's like freaking out. And I'm like, what the hell just happened, But yeah, I did kind of see it in slow motion now that you say that, but yeah.
That's a great example. We call that out of your mind, because the mind gets out. The mind only works with 24 flickers per second. So the mind cannot comprehend that portion of a high stress. So it is like giving up, boom, out, mind out, spirit in, or emotion unconscious takes over.
And the spirit runs how many frames per second? A lot.
Nobody really knows. It's like billions.
Yeah, it's a lot. So that's why it's almost like when you're in that moment, it's almost like you're the Flash and you're watching everything in slow motion, because the spirit is so fast that it's seeing it in slow motion.
Yes.
So I think that's so weirdly cool, but.
And the way our brain interprets that is amazing. We have another way of looking at things when the spirit comes in. It's like a cheetah running after her prey, and Prey.
Pray. Yeah.
Okay. And you see the movements are so fast and they're going exactly the same way. Wherever they turn, they don't act within their mind. They act within their spirit. That's why they're so fast.
Interesting.
Dogs too, rabbits too. I mean, all animals, they don't have much of a mind, and they don't need much of a mind because they have their own emotions in their tail. So they rememberings, what I mean, and their spirit are like so fast. They see us in slow motion. They're probably making fun of us, like, why you guys are so slow? It's like, they don't understand it.
That's fine.
So we have constructive, when we make a decision or a decisive decision or a reaction with integrity in a calm manner, we're using a constructive emotional response, using anger and transforming that heat into a constructive passion. By being assertive, your well-being is covered in a win-win situation. Anything you want to add on the constructive portion?
Yeah, if anybody out there, hi guys, saw the movie A Beautiful Mind, that guy, I don't remember his name. It doesn't matter. I just know the message. That guy is talking about, and he has the great question of saying, why he has to be a loser? This is very, very important because we work today in our society as if I lose, she wins, or if I win, she loses. I don't think that should be that way. In A Beautiful Mind, that movie, the guy is like, he was a Nobel Prize guy. So he explains mathematically that doesn't have to be a loser. So a win-win situation is the best outcome of everything.
Well, and it goes right back to being fair. If we're
Yes.
if we're working within
Agreed.
that fairness, then it is a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Because everything comes from our soul. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is connected to some ways, sub-elements to our soul. So even the fear also. The thought itself, the absolute truth, is connected to the soul of the universe, the soul of everything.
So when we talk about, did you have anything else to add?
No.
Okay.
One second. She has any questions?
Do you have any questions?
I was actually going to ask, would you consider win-win to be the same as, I mean, I know back in our day we didn't have participation trophies, but would you consider that the same thing as being win-win, or is that something completely different? Just in your opinion, I guess is what I'm asking.
Not only my opinion, but no. The answer is no. That's a competition.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in any competition where it has to be a fair competition,
Right.
it has to be a winner and a loser. To just, otherwise you can't. No, you can't have participation trophies for everybody because
I didn't think so.
it's going to be no progress. If you're not failing.
Yeah, it doesn't teach
Right.
anybody
Exactly.
how to get better, how to push themselves to compete with themselves to get better at just on their own, not necessarily with other people, but
Any
So they
competition
can
that
grow
we have.
and change.
Yeah, any competition that we have, including the gladiators, including the wars, that most of the time is going to be a winner.
well, just like
But that's not in a business. There's not in a fairness way.
right, it's
Business
just
deals or relationships or that's what I'm talking about. Win-win situation.
Okay.
Well, when we talk about the destructive side as being aggressive or violent is a destructive decision, and this anger will be a win-lose situation. When we explode in raging anger, we're releasing so much destructive energy that it's going to come right back to us, hurting others in the process by unloading our emotions onto them forcefully. It's like an invasion of energy space when it's forced on another person. So it's like you're pushing against their free will with an explosive burst of emotion if they're not
Exactly.
prepared for this. Again,
Yep.
not fair.
Go down to passive and let's explain. Constructive, destructive, and passive.
And the passive is holding anger in, and being passive will lead to depression and sadness. Not making a decision is like being a little less alive.
Oh, that's on the anger side. In the anxiety side, we'll explain on the anxiety side what passive is. So, okay.
Fear neutral is the fight, flight, or unconscious. So let's look at anger specifically first.
Okay. So first, let's try to understand that. Let's go with anger, but let's try to understand how fear transforms everything in anger. It has to be a spark of fear. Then you get afraid. That's the first step that energy is going to take. It makes you afraid. Nudge in your stomach is not going to go down to your knee. That's part of anxiety. Nudge in your stomach, suffocation, nudge in your on your neck and your throat. And transform that into all the way to anger. Get pissed off and more hype yourself up. So.
So with passive anger, you may get depressed, sad, making no decision, which we know is like being a little less alive. So constructive anger, is that where we want to go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Constructive anger, we're being decisive with integrity and calmness. To use anger is a win-win situation, going out and taking care of our needs for ourselves. Being assertive, knowing what we like and what we don't like, adhering to our own principles that we've set up for ourselves. And this could be a passionate anger where joy is being fueled into the situation because it's just something that we're so passionate about.
You're going to have the diagram, right? So,
yes.
Okay, so we can say it right now, going all the way to the other side. Anxiety, constructive anxiety, is courage. And it's going to form a loop from courage to where if you are principled enough and fair, it's going to form a loop in the constructive, from the constructive anxiety to go all the way back to assertiveness, which is a constructive anger. So if you're constructing with all these extreme emotions, you're going to be just fine. And the constructive anxiety is called courage. Definition of courage is doing the right thing.
No matter what.
Why? It's up to the individual that is their perception, what the perception is the right thing. But you could be well-intended on doing the right thing, even though it might be the wrong thing, but you can change. So, but doing it inside your heart, inside your soul, thinking that you're doing the right thing and take action of it, on it, that's called courage. And we're going to have to start acting like that instead of being passive with our anxiety. Anyway, let's talk about passive on both sides. Passive anger and passive, which is one extreme, and passive anxiety, which is all the way on the other extreme. Passive anger is going to get you sad. Is just going to get you inside. It's passive. You don't want to express that anger. So you're going to hold that anger inside, and it's going to get you sad. And that's the limit, actually, because it's going to get you depressed. Like you try to go to sleep constantly, or somewhat consider when you're really tired, you have lack of anger, lack of passion. You just wanted to go to bed. When you're tired, sleepy tired, you just wanted to go to bed. Sickness, the same thing. Is just lack of life. Is you don't have that hype inside you anymore, that anger. Because between passion and anger is that hype. I see football players, they hype themselves the beginning of to just connect to that divine fairness, which gives them luck during the game. So they probably know that. But they get themselves hyped out and actually scary everybody else when they get that hyped.
Yeah.
So it's all emotional thing, no matter what we do. So in between the anger and passion on the same level, those are the same. I don't think it's a difference in between those molecules, but it's the same. But between them is that hype that drives us and that transform. That if you hold it back, is transforming in a passive way. On the other side, on way the other side of it is the other extreme of those emotions is anxiety. So passive anxiety is probably one of the worst. Is whether avoidance or impulsive. So with passive anxiety, when you get that after the panic attack, you get in the anxiety mode.
Okay.
People take it really the other way around, but it's not. You get the panic attack, and then you get in that almost unconscious, but not really anxiety mode. It's a beautiful energy. As my understanding throughout the celestial beings, they don't have this anxiety. They're envy of humans having this anxiety. This anxiety is a beautiful energy. We just don't know how to transform it. We've never been told or taught how to transform it. But the passive anxiety is avoidance or impulsiveness. Now, avoiding anxiety is one of the worst things that we can do, because we become addictive, and we just better take something for it. And when we, on the other side is of avoidance, is the extreme of avoidance is impulsive. You're reacting impulsive, trying to get back to anger in a wrong way, being impulsive. You will get back to anger, but you're going to get to the destructive anger, I think. Now let's talk about the destructive extremes emotions, anger and anxiety. The destructive way with anger, you become violent. You transform your anger in violence to an extreme, on a spectrum, an extreme, wherever that violence gonna go. So that's very destructive to everybody. And on the other side, all the way to the extreme of the emotions, anxiety, destructive anxiety is masochism. You're trying to self-harm, blame yourself pretty much. And obviously, when you blame yourself, you start blaming everybody. That's very destructive for your own thing. So anger causes a destructive way of violence towards others. You express that anger towards others, and anxiety, you express that towards yourself. So the best way to be is, with anxiety, have courage. It's a constructive way. Do the right thing to get back to that passion in the nucleus of the anger that hypes you up to be assertive, principled. That's the way. That's the word of assertiveness. Being principled. Know what you want. Know what you like. Know what you don't want, and know what you don't like. And don't be afraid to say no if you don't like it, just because I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. No, if you don't like it, in the nicest way possible, say no. I just don't like this. I'm sorry. I just don't. So if people don't understand you, that's their way of dealing with themselves. Like, I'm talking like really close people in your proximity, family and friends. If they don't understand you, that's their way to deal with themselves. But you have to be assertive with what you like and what you know, and express those things, because people don't read your mind. You must express those emotions when you like something or you don't like something.
Not yet, anyway.
So like knowing your self-worth and having self-mastery.
Yeah, it goes back to
and
knowing
putting up healthy
know
boundaries and stuff
thyself.
like that, releasing toxicity.
I mean, if we
and
we
whatnot.
understand the elements of the soul that make up who we are, and we understand how the emotions work, and we understand how the body works with spirituality, we understand how the free will works, we understand how spirit works with us, we understand how our mind works and how the ego works within the mind, we're able to, through practice, and it does take practice, but through practice, we can master our emotions, we can master ourselves. It just, you never know what you're going to get thrown at you. So you have to, it's a constant work. It's not something that you're just like, oh, I'm going to work on this today. No, it should be a daily, constant thing that we're aware of ourselves and how we sound to others. How do we respond to a certain situation? Are we holding in grudges for some reason, or blame or resentment for ourselves or others? Because all those things that we hold in ourselves create a physical thing in the body.
It's inside you.
Right. So if we're holding on to all this anger, which is basically like a cancer and eating us up, I mean, it's regret and resentment to guilt, to leads to depression and sadness, and it can lead to physical blood disorders. I know a case in point of this in my own experience. And to the other extreme with anxiety, there's shame and worry, there's blame, there's impulsiveness with addiction, which can all lead to neurological disorders. And again, I know other people with that issue because of these emotional things that they haven't been able to work through. And we've all been guilty of it. We have worked on ourselves too, and we're not, I wouldn't say masters yet, but like I said, it's a daily thing to constantly be working on ourselves and making sure that everything that we say, everything that we do is reflecting our characters, reflecting who we want to be known as. Who are we within that fairness, within that divine flow? We're going with the flow of our soul, our divine fate. So, as long as we are true to ourselves, and to say that means true to our souls and true to our absolute truth, then we're able to work through anything. We can feel the truth. We can read people's emotions before we talk to them. Those kind of things. We just understand it better, which allows us higher levels of awareness as well. Because it's just constantly growing. We're constantly growing together as a group, individually.
We're gonna get to a higher awarenesses.
Higher awarenesses, yes.
We're gonna have to put that up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna have to redo a little bit. Well, within our boundaries, our aura, we supposed to have a perfect comfort, which is actually perfect happiness. That's what they call the pursuit of happiness. So we have a whole harmonized, physical, spiritual, free will, soul. Everything is harmonized within our bubble, within our orb, the aura. But we constantly get heat. I mean, like, I'm talking constantly. Our aura protects us 24/7, like every single fraction of a second. We get heat, which with these things that I call it photonic splinters. From they is like a comet hits the Earth and goes through the atmosphere. So some of them, they just burn in. So that's what we're going to get hit with. I call it photonic splinters, or arrows, or energetic arrows, or photons. So we're protected by our stratosphere or ionosphere. Our aura protects us. So we're not allowed these splinters to hurt us. If we do hurt ourselves, like physically, like bump on something, and oh my gosh, I hurt myself, then it creates a hole. Doesn't matter how much you hurt yourself when you hit yourself, or something. It creates a hole not only in the physical but in the aura. So the pain, that hole is gonna be literally in the aura that allow those, is not protecting that part of your body. You allow those photonic splinters to divide the molecules inside your physical body where it hurts, and it start hurting even more. Like people like arthritis or people that they're in pain. They're not in pain, constant pain, just because they have some sort of a medical thing. They're in pain because our aura is fractured, and our aura is always constantly fractured and broken, and the photonic splinters are hitting them where the aura is in a connection with that imbalanced physical pain. So the splinters gets in and it creates more pain. That's the way we function with our skin aura and the aura. Now the question is how you put the bandages on those broken parts of your aura. Being assertive. Say no more. And every single entity that's driving us, the spirit, the free will, the emotions, the mind specifically, every single one, when you say no, you give an order to those entities, and they are executing the orders because you said you don't want this anymore, and they executing the order. They must listen to you, to your king, to your soul. And once you give it the order, you are the soul, right? You're not. That's what I'm saying. That when you say no, you're being assertive to certain things. You are not only creating a better you, a higher character, but you're creating a better aura, a healthier you. So, and all entities that drives you, that are with you and within you, they're going to have to listen to that. They must understand and work together to accomplish what is need to be done to patch up those auras, those boundaries. Very important. Boundaries are very important, but there's not much to talk about boundaries. It's just a bubble. Anyway, I kind of ran going. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Actually, even more. My point was, because I asked you if you put that on the diagram. My point was what she said about the anger creates regret and resentment and guilt, depression and blood disorder, and anxiety. It gives you shame and worry and blame and impulsive avoidance, addiction, and neurological disorder. Those are not necessarily only coming from you, because that's, like I said, you are within comfort inside your bubble, inside your boundaries. So those are coming from stress. What is called stress is this tension, friction outside of you. Stress is always only outside of you. And it's a friction like between your aura and outside of you, stress, tension, friction that transform in irritation inside of you. That's where it goes to. Once it gets through, those photonic splinter gets through, and then it transforms in irritation because it's a high friction. So it irritates your fear, and from there is going to have to be the stress irritates fear, and that is going to be transforming in anger and anxiety and shame. That irritation makes you, however you transform that irritation, which is also transformed into fear, but irritation is going to be anxiety, shame, and worry, and anxiety part, and get to the neurological disorder. And to the anger side, that irritation gets you, regret, guilt, depression, blood disorder, heart disorder, and all that. So I think the stress is very important, but stress is not inside you. It's always outside you.
I think this is a good time to remind everyone that we are only 100% in control of ourselves,
right,
and 0% control of the environment that we're in.
The stress outside.
Right, the stress outside. So just to recap, put those together in the same spot.
Yeah. So if you're 100% in control of yourself, you don't have to allow the stress outside to irritate you to get inside. You have that option. You have that option.
You can decide how you respond to any situation, so that you don't allow that stress inside. So, like you said, having those boundaries is super important to be able to know when you need to react or not react, or how to at the right times, so that you don't let that irritation or that stress inside of you to irritate anything.
And it's not easy, like at work, it's not easy to tell your boss no, right? So it irritates you, you allow a little bit, but you're gaining something out of that. So, yeah, because you work, it's an energy exchange. So, okay, I'll do what you're irritating me right now, but, you don't have to respond in a way. You can be assertive with that, because you get an energy exchange. You get whatever, money, or whatever you're getting, bonuses. So that's when the calm come in place. Calm yourself. You're gonna allow a little bit of that irritation inside you, but it's gonna be wiped off at the end of the week with your paycheck. So it's a trade-off. It's always a trade-off. Yes, it's not like we're walking down the street or whatever we do. It's gonna be a trade-off. Driving, again, that's another thing, that people drive the way they drive. Sometime I made a mistake, driving, and sometime I see people make a mistake. It doesn't have to taking in start talking and screaming to the steering wheel because somebody cut you off.
Yeah, I think the trigger, they've been using that trigger word, or using triggers to get people to react or respond in an unfavorable way, to spread more ripples of those more, not that there's negative or positive specifically, but to spread more of those negative emotions, or those undesirable emotions, I should say, because they do create waves all around us. Every action that we make, I mean, like the butterfly effect, you have some kind of vibration, some kind of wave that we're making based on how we react. There might be somebody blow up in public, and you feel like you should respond, but is it really worth it? Is it really worth it for, who is with me, who's around? Is it worth getting involved? Do I need to get there's all kinds of things, but we always have a choice of how we're going to respond.
Okay.
Sometimes, yes.
Stress outside of you, before you become irritation, you're going to transform it inside of you. But how do you know it's anger, or how do you know it's anxiety? So to understand that irritation become anger, it has a process. So you have to be hurt. In any way, somehow, you're going to get like emotionally hurt. You feel the hurt. Maybe it's a divorce or death, or not physical hurt, but emotionally hurt. So a separation or losing, of just hurt, you get hurt. So when you get hurt, that's turning into anger inside you. If you lose out of that irritation, if it's a loss, and becomes anxiety. So that's the way you know which one is that one is anger and that one is anxiety. So you transform. So when you feel hurt, at that point, it's nothing you can do. You're going to get angry. The only thing that you can do is how you transform the anger.
How do you back up a second? How do you explain the feeling of anxiety? How would you explain it?
It's a loss. You lose something. You lose something in your relationship.
Well, you feel like you're lost at life, like lost in general, like just desperately trying to figure out what to do, but you're
Yeah,
I'm trying to give more
I know,
a broader example.
That's a good question. You feel like you're losing something constantly,
Yeah.
Or you feel like you're losing something in a deal.
Maybe
You
losing.
feel like you're losing, like your business partner is like try to be fair, but you feel like he's not fair. Somewhere is not right, and he's trying to take advantage of you. Something you're losing something, and it gets you that worry, not sleeping at night. That gets you that anxiety. How you gonna deal with this guy or with that girl? And the same thing with a relationship, and that's pretty much things that Same thing with your own self. If you lose parts of you, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel like something is not right. What am I doing wrong?
What am I missing?
What am I missing? Who should I blame? So you become whether impulsive or addictive or
both,
or
shame and worry, blame, yeah.
Or you're trying to avoid the whole situation. When you start losing something, it's not happening.
Yeah, I think that's where addiction comes in. You want to ignore the problem and lose yourself in something else.
If you can stay for one more second in that anxiety part instead of transform it pretty quick, and then you can rationalize it. You can, okay, I'm afraid now. Okay, I have a little panic attack. You feel the heartbeat, and okay, let me calm down a little bit instead of acting right now and think about it. How am I going to do this? Okay, he's a bad guy. I'm doing a bad deal with him, but how am I going to tell him that I don't like what he's doing? He thinks that he's doing the right thing, but no, I don't like what I mean, how am I going to tell my girlfriend that I don't like what she's doing? It's just affecting me, and I don't know how. I don't want to upset her, but it gives me anxiety.
I had that with work not that long ago. Okay. There was a website that I was supposed to work on, and I just didn't believe in anything about what they were offering, and I didn't feel like I needed to put my work into it because I didn't believe in what they were promoting. It was against my principles,
I remember you didn't take it.
Yeah,
you didn't take it. It's just
I was like, nope, I don't feel comfortable promoting things for something that I don't believe is a thing anyway. So
it goes down to your soul. You're gonna have to feel that absolute truth, and you have to have yourself first in order to help others. You can't just, and you have to control your emotions. You can control your emotions, the best of your knowledge, but you need those tools. We'll give you those tools right now.
It does take practice, though. Don't give up just because it didn't work the first time.
Emotions and the part of the soul that's called patience and tolerance, those are the best friends. Take your time. Instead of reacting or being impulsive or being aggressive, on anger side is aggressive and impulsive on an anxiety side. Just take your time for a second. Just step back. Don't do it right away. Just those are the best tools. That's the best tools. Step down, step back.
Growing up, my parents would say, count to 10 or take a deep breath. Think before you open your mouth. Don't just spout out something. Exactly. Think about it a second before you open your mouth, because once those words come out, you can't
think before you speak.
They're out there. So
that's another thing, that the well-being of every single person, human sentient being, the well-being of us has lots of holes in our boundaries to where we allow lots of stress in. Money is that's worrying everybody.
The whole system was designed to keep us in stress.
Yeah. So I want to how do you call that, to tell people that about the well-being and the money. Money is an energy exchange. It could be emotional, but take a step back on that too. Don't worry about it so much, because I'm not financial. I'm not going to give any financial right now, any financial lessons. But no, I'm just talking specifically from the emotional side. Nothing happens to you. If you have money or you don't have money, doesn't matter if you worry or not. Nothing happens to you unless you take steps and get addicted to other drugs and stuff. But nothing happens to you. Just take a step back. Things gonna take its course, and it's gonna find an alternative, not a solution, by the way, an alternative to everything that your problem is. Let it be for a second. Let it rest in there, or how you call it. Let it be in there for a second.
Fester a while.
Fester a while. Yeah. Sleep over the. Sleep on it. That would be the best way to. My best advice. I'm not giving financial advice. I do my finances the way I like it.
Well, the law of nature right now is, I mean, not right now, but always. But I mean, you can't fight nature. So nature is correcting itself, rebalancing itself. So, I think what he's trying to say is, don't worry about the money portion. Don't worry about all these things so much, because it is outside of us. Be aware.
More to it is people thinking that like their bills has to be paid. Okay, what is a bill? What is a bill? It's not even a law. I mean, if you have a bill in Congress, it's not yet a law. But what is a bill when you get a bill, an electric bill or something? It's just a notice. It's just a notice. Just don't worry, especially women are worried. So it has to be paid on the 10th. No, it doesn't have to be paid on the 9th or the 10th or whatever. I'm just giving up a day. It's just a bill. Leave it there. Leave it. If he gets paid on the 20th, the people that you pay them, they're happy that you actually paid them. Because there are other people that didn't even pay at all. So, yeah, your well-being should be first.
I mean,
not the bills.
All these systems have been created to keep us in a stressful type of environment on purpose. So, like all the paperwork that we get,
emotional,
right? Emotional turmoil. They want us emotionally,
exactly.
Yep. So, if we recognize that and we take steps to, okay, every situation that we encounter, that if we can take steps to look inward and be like, okay, we know what's going on. We're aware of this part. So now we know better how to respond. It makes it a lot easier as a whole just to be able to navigate life.
Now, Ayan and Leanne give us the tools how to respond to this. Yeah, they're great. They are great tools. Just take a step back. Take a step back. Don't put emotions into this stressful situation and terrifying situation sometimes. I mean, you have a relative or something that might be, all kinds of situations. I don't want to.
There's lots of terrifying situations currently for lots of people. So there,
to take a step back and calm down. That's
we take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath of spirit and let spirit guide you on what you need to do next, because that is God breathes. That is like inspiration. You breathe in that inspiration. So if we take a deep breath before we respond, I feel like that is a great way to give you a few minutes to get your mind to cooperate with everything and the emotions too, so that they're working together.
Work with the tools that we give you. This is not even taking practice. That's not the practice thing. That just take the tools and work with it. Just think for a second. Okay, I'm angry now. Am I constructive with this anger? Am I aggressive, destructive? Am I holding anger that I shouldn't? Holding it down, passive way. Psychologists call it that, passive aggressive, because you're going to get back to anger from passive. You get up to anger again and get aggressive and go right back to passive aggressive. That's the worst way you can do it. Just imbalanced. So see where you at all time. Fear is easy to deal with because it's a shock. It's just a fraction of a second thing. So you whether start fighting or just start running or you just get like paralyzed. That's what it is, unconscious. So fear is easy to deal with it. It's being transformed quick. But after you get this fear transformed, you get upset, you get afraid, you get angry at the end. And he's hyping it up more and more and more. Come back here and get to this part right here and see what we're saying. How am I going to deal with this anger that I have right now in me? It hurts me. It hurts me. How am I going to deal with it? I should be constructive, but I can't be constructive because I don't know who I am. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I like. I should put it down on a piece of paper.
Make a list.
Make a list of those. What I don't like. Start with what you don't like. And then start with what you don't want. And put that in place, what you like and what you don't. It's easy. It's easy this way. Yeah. Then you're going to get back on the anxiety. How am I going to deal with this? You know, you don't even have to practice because you have those problems every day in your life, every minute in your life.
That is the practice. To me, yeah,
we're already practicing. We just don't have the tools.
Exactly.
Now we give everybody the tools to understand that there's a constructive way to deal with anxiety, not necessarily a pill. Oh, I got anxiety. I got to take my pills. No, you don't. You just take the deep breath and calm down. And be courageous. That gets you out of all pills.
You've said before too that anxiety is a manifestation too. So
highest point of manifestation. Anxiety and fear, those are the highest point of manifestation. Whatever you're afraid of is going to come true. But more than that, whatever your anxiety, whatever you deal with anxiety as an emotion and you put a thought into it, like a process of information into it, when you feel that anxiety, I'm going into like the secret kind of thing. And I can explain it. It is a feeling and it has a unique vibration to everybody. And to me, it works different. I don't get much of anxiety. So when I manifest with that, I get to the point of inspiration that we talked about it in a free will. So to me, is different a little bit. To everybody is different. They have to feel it and discover it for themselves. So, but the anxiety is high point of manifestation to where lots of sentient beings, celestial beings out there, they don't have anxiety. They get a little envy of us.
Well, it makes a lot of sense that's why there's so many anti-depression, anti-anxiety medicines.
Oh, cutting off. Yeah. They try to cut off our point of manifesting our own desires in reality through anxiety. Yeah.
And to come off of those, it's very painful, I understand. It can be.
I never experienced it, so I don't know, but
I've seen a few people come off of antidepressants. It doesn't look like it's a fun ride.
Yeah, because they get to the point of destructive anxiety, and destructive anxiety
I feel like they've been numbed for so long that they're not used to feeling all those things. So when they do, it's overwhelming again, you know? Humans have very strong emotions. I can see why we make a lot of ripples in the universe.
But the thing is that it's the neurological part that anxiety deal with. So I can see why they get so destructive with that.
Messes with the mind.
Yeah, and self-harm and masochism and self-inflicted wounds. And I mean, people literally cut themselves sometimes with a blade. Oh my gosh. Tattoos are part of...
well, I'm not getting any more. I'm done.
Are part of an impulsive way of... Yeah. But
see, I fall asleep when I get tattooed. Like, I don't like needles, and there are reasons I don't like needles. Past life issues. But when I get tattooed, and I only have 3, they're all on my back.
Unconscious.
There's your unconscious right there.
I literally fall asleep. Like, I pass out. I don't know why. I can't stand needles, but tattoos?
Yeah. That paralyzes your nervous system.
You know?
that's
Maybe.
more to it in a relationship, like the lion paralyzes the lionesses through that part of,
Huh.
but it's a whole thing. We go into a sexual thing. So, yeah.
Is there anything else on emotions that you wanted to cover?
Not much. If our gracious host has any questions up to this point, maybe to unconfuse people, to not confuse people as much, because
That's the whole point of what we're doing, is trying to unconfuse.
yeah,
Clarify.
to give everybody tools. So yeah, yes.
I'm confused. I guess with the anxiety, maybe that's actually not what I was feeling at the time, but like as an example of what I feel anxiety feels like, I used to get really bad social anxiety. It didn't matter if it was my best friends, it didn't matter if it was my family. Anytime, and maybe it was just the empath in me pulling in all everybody's emotions and processing and not knowing how to transmute because I didn't even know what it was. Because this is prior to when I woke up spiritually. But I used to get like you said, like you get in this area of like panic attack, like your chest starts to feel tight. You're just like you're trying to I would try to do 20 things at once. I was just so scattered that I would like my heart would start pounding and I'm just like I got to go. And I used to find myself walking into the other room, getting outside, like doing something to just stand there and just take a breath, relax. And I would find myself just like either I would have to do that multiple times being around everybody, or I would just need to just go home because there was no way I was coming off of this. But I felt it more in my heart than anything. It was like heart anxiety. It was like I don't know what it all was, but I know the moment that I spiritually woke up and I started doing meditations, and one of the first areas that I fixed my throat, but then I fixed my heart chakra. And that social anxiety just kind of went away. Like I can handle being in crowds. I can also put up my boundaries and say, I don't want to go, and not feel socially obligated to be around other people. I tend to now use my intuition. Hey, is this a place I really need to be in? Or is this something I can skip out on and they're just going to have to deal with it?
Yes, it was.
So
No, it was anxiety, but
I know
you
that,
see what you just did?
And maybe that wasn't anxiety I was feeling.
Did you
I
hear
thought
what
it
you
was.
just did? You act within a constructive way, got courage to do it.
What?
Whether through meditation or spiritual awakening, you got courage and it got you out of it. Did you see what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now I can be in it, and I'm like, yeah, and now I can be around my family. And if I find myself, getting to that point where it's like I'm taking on too many emotions or whatnot, I'll go step outside.
Have that
I'll
courage
take a few
to
breaths,
get
and then I come
on
back in and I'm okay.
and face it right on. Just have that courage, and it will get you out of anxiety. It will. Have the courage to do the right thing. Have the courage to, I don't know what that is for everybody, but that's a great tool. Courage is the only component of two pieces in our entities. Mind has the need of courage, and the constructive way of getting out of anxiety is courage too. The only thing that is that important, courage for humans. But don't be brave, because that's stupidity. And don't be a hero, because that's 6 feet under. That's that. Just have courage. Don't just act impulsively with courage, because that's impulsive. Think about it. Make a little plan and act. That's courage. Do the right thing.
Have an intention.
Have an intention with a little plan.
Attention and emotion. Those two together are very powerful.
Take a deep breath. Just do courage. Don't be brave. Don't be a hero. I mean, nobody's asking you to be a hero or to be brave. Just do a little courage. And you don't even have to do a big time courage. I mean, you don't have to be courageous from saving somebody from, I don't know. Just do it for you.
Have the courage to say no.
Have the courage to say no. Yep. Have the courage to say, sometimes
burning
even have the
building?
courage to say yes.
Right.
Yeah. Even
Right.
that is important. Yeah. So if
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you just did,
And I had to get to that point. Like I just had to. You know, it was getting to the point where it was just,
yeah.
I felt obligated to show up at these functions, and it's just like, I don't want to be here, you know. And I finally got the thought in my head. I'm just like, I'm not going. I don't feel comfortable when I'm there. It's okay to just stay home. If they don't like it, then they're obviously, you
Huge.
know, they've not going to respect my boundaries, and that's another red flag for me.
They
You know, if you're not going
interfere
to
with your
respect my
free will
boundaries,
when they don't
then
respect your
you
boundaries.
have no.
I
You
think
have,
a lot
you
of
know,
women have this problem
no
though,
room in
as
my
far
life.
or have had this issue where
Exactly.
we get overwhelmed easily because we think we can take on the world. We think we can, you know, handle all the kids and all the projects and the work and the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and whatever needs to be done. And we are good at overwhelming ourselves too. So it's one of those things where we have to be aware, and men do it too. Don't get me
No,
wrong.
that's what you think because you're really that strong. But no, women go at the end of the night.
I know.
At the end of the night, women go in a bathroom and cry. That's no.
I don't do that. You know?
You don't. That's exactly what I'm saying. You don't do that.
But I mean, like, we just have as human beings, we should all be aware of not overwhelming ourselves or taking on too many things that it's not fair to us, because that is it's depleting our energy. It's depleting our currency of what we can help with, you know, give to others. If we're depleting our energy in unnecessary areas, we should identify those and take our power back and be like, no, have your boundaries, have your principles, and say, I don't want to do this, but I will do this. Compromise when it's needed. But as long as we're reacting within fairness for ourselves first, and then of course everyone else too, it depends on the situation, but yes, all fairness.
What I want everybody to take from this, this is really absolutely awesome podcast. To take the fact that they can do it, so we can give the tools to do it. Emotionally is very important. And lots of people ask me, I understand all this, but where am I starting? Because it seems to me like it's in a circle. So where do I start? And I said, take a piece of paper, take 100 days of you, like 10 minutes a day or 5 minutes a day. Take it, put it on a piece of paper, 4 columns. What I don't like and what I like instead, what I don't want and what I want instead. And write down, I don't like Pepsi, I like cola. I don't want, I don't know something, I want something else instead. That's where you have to start. That's the greatest tool I can give people to start with, to build their boundaries. The boundary is going to get really, really huge build through becoming assertive. And stick with that, the principles to death and life. Those principles, this is you. People asking me, yeah, how do you know who? I don't know who I am. But you, look, put it down on a paper and you realize immediately who you are. This is who you really, your identity is what you feel like you like and don't like, what you feel like you don't want or want. It could be more, but just stick with this 100 things of each.
Well, and it's funny. It's funny you say that, because that's really kind of where I started when I was hitting my spiritual awakening. When I realized, wait a minute, everybody around me has their own little things. They have their, you know, their collector's items, or they have their hobbies they like to do. And I was like, where did mine go? I used to have these things too. You know, like I used to do this, I used to do that, I used to go running, I used to do all these things. Like, where Where are the things that I like to do? Because I had gotten so engulfed in what everyone else needed that I forgot about myself. And so that's where we have to keep ourselves in check and make sure that we're getting what we need so that we can give what everyone else around us needs.
Okay, let's get back to the people.
Sorry, just an example.
But what I was trying to say, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's a great tool. This is the great tool to start with, because I heard a lot of gurus out there asking people, answering to people to the question, what do you think I should do? And a lot of guru asking people, what's your passion? Well, it's kind of hard to tell what's my passion. That's not, that's so easy for you to ask me, what's your passion? Like I'm going to come up with an answer, what's a passion? No, that's not a good tool. You're going to find your passion because it's in your talent and your divine talent in your soul that it gives you the desires. So it activates your desires. So that's going to be your passion. But until then, you're still going to have to live in an assertive way. So my greatest tool that I can give people, and I'll recap thereafter all of it. My greatest tool that I can give people is going to be be assertive. Start with your assertiveness. Be principled. Stick with that for better or for worse. And be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Then let's repeat really quick what are the most important things. Fear is neutral. It acts in a very quick transformation, fight or flight, and unconscious. Then from that point on, it goes whether scared or transforming scare, or transform on the other side of being afraid. Afraid, it gets it through all the way to the anger, hyper passion, and anger acts in three ways: destructive, constructive, and passive. Passive way is depression at the end of it, period. And constructive way is assertiveness, where everybody should start with. And the destructive way of anger is violence, aggressiveness. Then on the other side, where you get scared, you're going to go panic attack and all the way to anxiety. Beautiful energy. It's weird to say,
I know,
but it acts also the three ways, and destructive way, constructive way, and passive way. Passive is avoiding things. It's easy to avoid things, or if you can avoid it, you're going to be impulsive, and both of those going to get you addicted. Addiction to a casino, to drugs, to whatever addiction you have, you're going to enhance. And constructive way is courage. Courage is the most beautiful thing, beautiful energy that you can manifest. The definition of courage is do the right thing. And destructive way is self-harm, masochism, cutting yourself, whatever, self-victimizing. That's what it is. The boundaries around all this is to know that the stress is outside of you, and to understand how the stress gets inside of you, and transforming some sort of a irritation is through hurt. When you get hurt, by any means, emotionally hurt, it would get you angry, and you get emotional loss. You lose energy and you feel like it. It would get you anxiety. So those are the best tools that we can give today. I hope people start doing the right thing and have a little courage to take 10 minutes of their day and put down on a piece of paper what they want, don't want, like, and don't like. Start with the don'ts. It's easy. So once they do that, that's a practical way to advance. I mean, don't have any expectations, but you're going to feel it. Within 100 days, I promise you'll feel a growth. You might call it a spiritual growth, or you might call it feel good about yourself, and you will know yourself. You will know yourself if you become more principled and stick with this, honest with yourself. You stick with those things that you just put down that you didn't even realize. Then use the tools from what we gave you, and you'll be fine. Yeah, even more healthier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's all. Yeah. Any question, Christina?
Awesome.
No. Okay. Did you do the paper? No, I'm just don't have to answer that.
I'm okay.
You don't have to answer that. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I myself, I did it too. I did it like 4 times.
Long time ago.
Not only once, because things are changing. So after a period of time, I realized I kind of like that I didn't like it before. So I did it many times.
Mine's more of a mental note. I make a mental note, don't like that. I'd rather this, and I kind of just, I keep an eye on it, I guess you could say. And, I just add
Whatever
to it
works for you.
as I go along. If I don't like something, I'm like, okay. I don't like
Whatever
that.
works for you.
Everybody has their methods.
Yeah,
I'm not one that really physically writes things down.
Writing it down, me, handwriting analysis. I know how the function between the writing down things and the brain works. So I think that's reconstruction of your groove inside your brain. It's just a whole nother thing. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Writing it down, to me, it seems more efficient and fast for your whatever you want to accomplish or achieve. Yeah, that's yeah, I did that. You have a beautiful handwriting.
Well, we did that for me when I
you got
when
a
I did
great
my
handwriting, very
changed
organized.
my signature.
Yeah,
I
did that.
revamped my signature.
Kind of helped you a little bit. Yeah,
Thank
a
you.
long time ago. Okay, yeah, good. So no expectations, but
Quite a bit.
we can do it. We can do it. If anybody
right.
have any, how does people do in podcast? If you have any question, just leave a like and subscribe and
leave it in the comments below.
Leave comments below. That gives me a kick every single time, man. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Well, thank you very much, Christina, for hosting once again.
Thank you so much, Christina. And to everybody, have a great day and a great next, remaining of the year.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
For the rest of the week, anyway.
The rest of the week. It's going to be a great year this year. I have a feeling.
Yeah, it's going to work out. It's going to play out pretty nicely, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
In the long run.
It's supposed to be.
Christina.
Thank you.
All right.
See you.
You're welcome. Thank you. See you next time.